What is going on, you guys? And I'm back with the chicken scratch to master stroke art journey. Yeah. So my original plan was to do an update once a week, but I've already progressed like 3 weeks into the course since my last update. So I'll just have to catch you guys up on what I've done lately. So here we go. So for week 4, it was to watch the Perspective 1 lecture, which basically just talks about some of the assignments in the module, as well as how to use perspective, basically. And then there is the Daily Visual Communication 1 assignment, which is basically just making observations of daily objects and your surroundings and stuff like that, and then just trying to understand how they all work visually. And then there's the daily pen control practice assignment, which I don't do because I'm already pretty skilled, or well, not skilled, pretty comfortable using a Wacom pen. That's what that's for. And then there is the daily nude figure drawing assignment 5, which is basically just drawing the human form using average proportions, like trying to understand proportions. So let's take a look at that. When you draw a person, sometimes what they do is they take the head and use the head as a measurement. So each block here represents a head. You have the male proportions on the right and the female proportions on the left. I wonder why. So here's a mannequin that I drew. One for male and one for female. So it's basically just understanding the length of each part of the body. See again how the head takes up one block. And then you have the whole upper body, which takes up roughly 4 blocks, and then you have the lower half, which takes up another 4 blocks, and then you have the midpoint, which is located at the crotch. The upper arms are roughly the same level, or rather, the elbows are roughly the same height as, like the waist. And then the crotch area is roughly where the wrists start. And then you have this lower portion where the knees are. That's the 3rd block. And then you have the other 2 for the rest of the legs. And same thing for the female, except the female usually has wider hips, larger breasts, of course, and things like that. So yeah, that's basically what this is for. Okay, so next we have Daily Nude Figure Drawing Assignment 6, which is again what we did before, where you have to draw different poses within a certain amount of time. So the first time I believe it was 30 seconds. Yeah, 30 seconds. So now we get an upgrade. Now it's 1-minute poses. So let's take a look at some of those. Here we have my Procreate document. So there's that one. I'm using the shapes to make the overall mannequin. And then there's that one. This one I didn't use the shapes. I just tried to use more line work. A bit too scribbly. I need to get out of the habit of scribbling so much. Same thing with this one. There's this one. That one. And the idea here is to not erase anything. Just keep going. There's that one. This one. This one's decent. Then there's that one. That one. That one. Let's see what else. And then eventually I started doing pages of them. So now we have these. These ones are a bit better. They're not as scribbly. So you can definitely see the progress, I guess. They look more like what they're supposed to, I guess. I think this was for week 5, actually. Some of these were for week 5. Because that's when I started doing the smaller ones, I think. And yeah, so that's my progress report on the gesture stuff. Okay, so the last thing for this week was to do the... Well, actually, no, the second to last thing. So this second to last thing was to draw the basic boxes using perspective. So let's take a look at some of those. So basically here, here's your vanishing point. I have one right here in the dead center. So I basically obviously just drew a bunch of boxes. So I have that one. I have this one. Because at some point, he, in the lectures, he was talking about, carving shapes. So this is what I was doing there. So for this used to be a pointed corner, so I rounded it out. And then this one I just cut off a piece. And then I just made some random letters. Okay. So this is the last assignment. This one was basically to get pictures off of the internet and try to find their vanishing points by drawing lines along the straight areas. Oh, this one was pretty cool. I started experimenting with more depth. This is probably my favorite because it adds a bit of rotation. I think that one looks pretty cool. And then there's this one, which is just like big old blocks. And that one is something basic. And yep, that's pretty much it. And then, oh yeah, and there's this one that rotates. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this week. Okay, so now we are on week 5, which is more of the same thing, more or less. So you have the daily nude figure drawing assignment 6, gesture drawing. Those are the 2-minute poses. And then you have daily nude drawing assignment 7, which is basically practice drawing the whole figure, the whole human figure from a photo reference. So let's take a look at that. So this was my first attempt using a picture that I found on Pinterest. So yeah, this didn't come out too bad. Maybe a bit less scribbling for the most part, but yeah, so that's one of my attempts. And then let's see, where is the next one? Oh yeah, and then there's this one. This one I kind of messed up a bit. If you notice, this area, this like space here and this space here, they're not the same. So I kind of overshot it a bit. And then I think the hand is a bit too small compared to this one over here. And for the most part, I think those are the main issues that I have with this attempt. And obviously the face sucks. I'm still learning to draw faces. Okay, let's hide that one. Okay, there's this one too. This one wasn't too bad. I had to do a lot of erasing for this one. Maybe stabilizing my line work a bit more so that it's a bit more straight and not having to rely on like the stabilization features. Oh yeah, and then there's this one. I decided to draw a dude. This one isn't too bad. Again, the line work is a bit messy, but with an inking brush that can easily be fixed. And then, oh, I have this one too. This one was pretty good. I like the silhouette. Yeah, I think I captured it pretty well. It helps when you have like this grid because it makes it easier to gauge how much space there is between things. But my eventual goal is to not have to rely on this grid. But yeah, I think for the most part my line work here was actually pretty smooth. And then I have this one. This one's not too bad either. Yeah, the structure for the legs is there. The the fingers, I think I did a pretty decent job. They're a bit too straight, but yeah, they're all right. This hand, I think I might have done a better job, although I might need a bit cleaning up because now it looks like she has these really sharp witch nails. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So this is the human figure portion. Okay, so again, more of the same thing. Daily drawing, perspective 1 assignment. Just like draw boxes using perspective techniques and stuff like that. Vanishing points and that kind of thing. So the next one was complete nude figure drawing assignment 4, which was basically to draw skeletons whose limbs are using cylinders. This part would be hard to do with a line like this, for instance. You wouldn't be able to tell that this is actually bending towards the camera because it's not three-dimensional. It's a two-dimensional line. So that's why we use cylinders, to make it easier to tell what angle the limbs are at. And then I tried drawing another one of these. Oh wait, I think I showed that one already. There's that one. And yeah, so yeah, basically just draw. The assignment was to draw, I think, 5 of these. Okay, and the last thing for week 5 was, of course, to draw more characters, to do 5 more character studies. So let's take a look at those. So here are my character studies. There's Dookie from Johnny Test. There's Cloud from Final Fantasy VII. This one was... this one could have been better. Here's Jerry. There's Tom. And then, of course, you see Phineas, too. I think he came out pretty well. And yeah, that's it for week 5. Okay, and now we are caught up to week 6. So week 6 started with daily primitive drawings. First exercise. So basically you would watch this video, 3 life-changing drawing practices. Let's see if I can open that. Okay, so it's basically this video, 3 drawing exercises that will change your life. Just look that up and you'll find the assignment. So it's Mark Bernay. So yeah, you go to that video and you basically do the first exercise from that video, which is basically just drawing shapes, but drawing 3-dimensional shapes, but trying to rotate them. So like here I have some of my practice. So I drew a cube and then I turned it a little bit, drew it in different angles. Then I drew some rectangles, some cylinders, also trying to rotate them, some more rectangles. Basically do that. Pretty much had to do that every day for this whole week. So that's just the first exercises. There's 2 more, but the first one is just mastering rotation of 3-dimensional forms. Next we have daily nude figure drawing assignment 6, which is gesture drawing again, but this time it's 5-minute poses. So here's one of my most recent poses. Let's look. Here's some too. Don't look at that. And then there's that one. Yeah, these are, because I had more time, so I was able to put more details in the muscle groups and stuff like that. There's this one. There's this one. There's this one too. This one's terrible. This one. Oh, this one. These ones are pretty good too. So yeah, this is what I was able to do with 5 minutes. Okay, and then it's complete perspective 1, assignment 3. So that's basically drawing a sci-fi themed, well, no, not a sci-fi theme. It's basically drawing a room from your house, but you can give it a sci-fi twist if you want to. That's optional. So that's what I'm working on right now. So I'll show you guys the final product. I won't show that yet until I finish it. And then there is the study 3 environments from professional artists, shows, games you like. So not characters, but environments. So let's look at the environments that I drew. Here's the first one. I think we could all recognize this one. Yeah, dog. That was a bit messy on my line work, but I think I did a decent job. And then there's this one, which for those of you who don't know, this is... Actually, let me know in the comments if you know where this is from. If y'all can tell me where this is from, you get a cookie or something. And then last but not least, this one. This was probably my favorite, even though it took the least amount of time. Can y'all guess what this is? Well, I'll tell you. It's Pride Rock from Lion King. Yeah, so this is probably my favorite one that I've done, even though it took me like way less time than the other two. It was fun to like test out using the HB pencil's shading abilities. So you got your basic strokes, but you can also draw very lightly or very dark. And then if you tilt, you can get like a nice shading, and you can press harder. So that's what I like about this one, is that it has some pretty cool features. But yeah, so that's basically week 6, and like I said, I'll show you guys my sci-fi themed bedroom once it's completed. And yep, that about wraps up all the updates for this progress update. So catch you guys later.